One woman surrounded by 5 or 10 men. A Tibetan family tradition that shocks even contemporaries. Greetings! Today, we will talk about a country located in Central Asia, and at the same time, we will analyze a shocking family tradition of the people of this country. We are going to talk about Tibet. It is true that polyandry, i.e., polygamy, is still widespread here. Is it true that a father-in-law, along with official husbands, can be alone with the bride at nightfall? How a spouse can make a woman love him more than others? And why young girls are chased by male representatives when they see necklaces and other jewelry on them? Be sure to watch the video to the very end so you don't miss anything important. Tradition, customs, and culture come first. Many of you probably know firsthand that Asian countries have been following different kinds of traditions for many years. In addition to the latter, this can include customs and cultural values. Tibet, which is located in Central Asia, is no exception. It is a truly unique state that fascinates both professional researchers and ordinary travelers with its peculiarities. Tibet is bordered by 4 main countries: India, Nepal, Myanmar, and Bhutan. There is also a border running through the Indian state of Sikkim. Most likely, your first association with Tibet is folk medicine. Yes, the healers here are really professionals. During the years of formation and development of the Tibetan state, which dates back to the 7th century AD, the inhabitants have learned a lot. Recipe of medicines using natural raw materials has no analogues in the world. Also in Tibet, as the main religion, is Buddhism. Monks living on the territory of this country have been in constant service for many years. In addition, here you can easily get tea with salt instead of sugar. And you can also admire yaks, which have become an integral symbol of the Tibetan state. Now get ready! It's that long-awaited moment to break down all the details of the family tradition of Tibetans. It never ceases to amaze even researchers and contemporaries. Polyandry, polygamy. To date, polyandry is widespread on the territory of the Tibetan state, or, as you have already guessed, polyandry. In this form of marriage relationship, one female representative can enter into union with several men. Actually, this is exactly what happens in Tibet. It should be noted that the official husbands in this case are brothers-in-law. Such a tradition has existed for decades. But why do Tibetans continue to adhere to polygamy even today? To answer this question, it is enough to delve into the past, and then everything will fall into place. The first thing to pay attention to is the economic component. The fact is that most residents cannot boast a decent financial situation, and some are even below the poverty line. Nevertheless, when young people grow up, they need money for bride price. Because of the lack of money in this case, the best option is to combine the efforts of several siblings at once. They become future spouses for their only new bride. The next step is the question related to future inheritance. As you understand, the more relatives in the family, the greater the final wealth. After marriage, all brothers begin to earn money diligently in order to feed the whole family and provide them with all the essentials for years to come. It is not surprising that children born into large Tibetan families get everything they need to live a normal life. And even more. Finally, brothers help out on the first wedding night. Let us explain what we mean. After marriage, the oldest man has many privileges in the family. And although all brothers are equal in status, for they are husbands for their bride, it is the eldest who is responsible for order in the family. But if the latter has serious illnesses, because of which he cannot leave behind an heir, the issue is solved with the help of the rest of the relatives. This is how the chance of having a child increases, which is also important in Tibetan families. And so polyandry is profitable this time too. You will be surprised, but not only brothers can share one bride for all. It turns out that a father-in-law can also have a girl in private. Yes, and representatives of the female sex are not against such connections and diversity. This phenomenon, although extremely rare, but still takes place in the marriage traditions of Tibet. How to win the heart of your beloved. After all of the above, a natural question arises. If there is one girl for 5-10 people in a family, is competition between men possible? In Tibet, there is a rule that all siblings are equal. The only thing is, as we said earlier, the older man has more privileges. But the fact that each of the brothers strives to favor the bride is a fact. And here, the most interesting thing begins. Tibetan girls and women most of all appreciate those who work hard and bring a lot of money to the house. So after the wedding, the siblings start doing just that. Over time, the bride may favor the one who has shown himself to be the best. Regarding the first wedding night, the girl is secluded with everyone in order. Yes, you can say that here too, everyone is equal. Everything starts with the eldest in the family and ends with the youngest. However, practice has shown a slightly different outcome of events. It turns out that the bride also gives preference to someone to one of her spouses. Sometimes the following happens. No matter how hard one of the relatives tried, he still did not pay attention to the girl. The reason is banally simple. The man earned little money and did not pay proper attention to his family. Sometimes this attitude can affect a man negatively. For example, he can be chased out of the family, which is quite real today. In this case, the exile becomes practically no one needs. The only option for salvation is to go to a monastery. Another option for the continuation of events is the insistence of the mother-in-law. The woman holds a conversation in private with the bride and asks her to give the groom another chance. Again, as practice has shown, this approach is quite effective. It all depends on the quality of the conversation and the subsequent correction of the man for the good of the family. Unfortunately, love affairs on the side also happen in Tibet. Careless grooms simply look for mistresses to distract themselves from everyday family worries. But if a strange girl suddenly gives birth to a child, they will not be able to claim their inheritance. This is the law in the Tibetan state. Necklaces and jewelry. A special sign? Most likely you have paid attention to the fact that girls and women in Tibet are often in luxurious outfits and with jewelry. Necklaces in the form of beads and coins are worn for a reason. They are given by male admirers. It so happens that men are constantly gifting representatives of the female sex with various jewelry. And the more of the latter, the more valuable is considered a girl. Especially in this regard, men in Tibet look at those who have a coral ball. This item is given to girls and women not by locals, but by foreigners. The value of such a representative of the female sex increases significantly. And so, she is chased by potential suitors. Conclusion. Thus, Tibet is famous for many long-standing traditions and customs. Especially people are surprised by the peculiarities of marriage relations. Nevertheless, polyandry for Tibetan inhabitants has full justification and sense.